How was it, Anna?
It was really cool. It's unnervingly different, but really, really cool. It was fun. Oh man, I want to take this in the mountains.
So I finally get to swing a leg over an electric bike. This is the Zero SRF, and it's what I would call the equivalent to your typical 600cc sized supersport. Except that it runs on a 14.4 kilowatt-hour battery pack and is an outstanding 502 pounds. Fortunately, the weight is evenly dispersed, and the motorcycle's low center of gravity makes it much less daunting than you would anticipate. Couple that with its narrow and low seat height of 31.3 inches, I was able to easily flat foot and maneuver this bike without any issues or noticeable added weight. My initial reaction is a bit unnerved, I'll admit. The lack of clutch lever and shift rod was very surreal to me. Instantly, I panicked and thought, well, what do I do about the lack of a friction zone, and how am I going to be able to load the front wheel? Is it going to feel the same? Also, let's be honest here. Most of us ride sport bikes for the sheer pleasure of being able to slam through the gears, feel the RPMs travel through our soul, and eventually produce a satisfying rumble of an exhale. Obviously, this is not what you get with an electric bike, and for the longest time, I scoffed at the idea of an electric bike, simply questioning its very existence.
Oh my gosh. This is so weird.
Why would I want something that doesn't provide a riding experience that, as a motorcyclist, I yearn for? But as a new era sets in and the push for eco-friendly transportation becomes a necessity, here we are. While I still am insanely hesitant on what I think of these machines, I also recognize that manufacturers have to start somewhere, and it will take decades to get to something that may make me personally happy. But Zero has honestly done an excellent job getting started right here.
Yeah, like it's definitely heavy coming to a stop. It's like so weird and unnerving not having a friction zone.
As I push off on our 15-minute test ride, I am instantly surprised at the ease of operation. You simply click the red ignition switch on and roll on the throttle, and off we go. The bike is heavy, you can feel it for sure, especially in the lower power eco mode that they had us starting off on. But don't be discouraged, just because it's heavy doesn't mean that it's not capable. Even after a few short minutes in our ride around town, I can see this being a really fun commuter machine for eco-friendly minded riders, provided that you can afford it and live in an area where you can charge it on the go. Of course, the biggest question is how far can you go on a single charge? Zero claims an average mile range of 156 miles in around town scenarios, or 77 highway miles at 70 miles per hour. So obviously the heavier your throttle hand is, the faster you're going to drain that battery. If you need a longer range, Zero offers an extended range Cypher upgrade plus power tank. This one is at 20.9 kilowatt hour. So that boosts your city mile ride to 227 miles, or 113 highway miles at 70 miles per hour. For me personally, this would be a bust, as my typical mountain rides start at a 200-mile day, which would leave me stranded shortly after a quick-spirited blast up the mountain. So this is why I feel this machine is good for city riding and commuting in its current state. Standard charge time is also 4.5 hours to meet 100%, but with a fast charging Cypher upgrade, you can knock that down to 2.2 hours, which is actually quite doable. Okay, so we all know electric vehicles are highly limited in their range so far. Until battery technology gets better, it's just what we're faced with, and that's okay for now. I think Zero did a fine job here with this, and I can honestly see them making better and better advancements as time goes by. As for the motorcycle ride itself, I really enjoyed it. It's easy, fun, the instant power delivery is kind of intoxicating actually. Once I switched to sport mode and accessed the full 146 foot-pounds of torque, I felt a massive smile creep over my face. Now that's what I'm talking about. As you can see here, it's still kind of damp and I had a lead instructor in front of me, so I couldn't really go as fast as I wanted to, but he did let us get up to 70 miles per hour a few times to just test the acceleration as fast as we wanted to go. So this was actually super fun and I got to see what an electric bike was capable of in its acceleration. To answer your speed questions, I got numbers from Cycle World where they clocked the SFR from 0 to 60 at 3.7 seconds, then 40 to 80 miles per hour in another 2.9 seconds, topping out at 124 miles per hour. Not too shabby for a sporty electric bike. Tip-in and mobility seem pretty legit and comparable to any sport bike, honestly, at least on these city streets. As I mentioned before, you can definitely feel the bike's massive weight, especially coming to a stop, but it's really not as big of a deal as I thought it would be. My final thoughts are quite positive and optimistic for the future of these electric bikes. I mean, selfishly, I will never want to give up my gasoline guzzling, emissions blowing, obnoxious rev bomb machines, but if I must, then obviously this is where it has to begin. Let's just hope the battery tech gets better and a little cheaper. At the upgraded, for battery pack's sake, price of $21,495, this is just much too expensive for me, and I suspect most motorcyclists to pay for an equivalent gas-powered machine. However, the future is bright and headed in the right direction, I suspect. If you can get yourself on one of these to test ride, then definitely give it a go. It was really a great experience. I hope to be able to test ride one of these with some more vigor in the future. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and watching my first thoughts on Zero. This was definitely a fun experience for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too.